They say the greatest transformations come not from wisdom, but from the foolishness of an open heart. This is the story of Chima, the proud merchant who learned this truth in the most unexpected way. In the bustling village of Nkwe, there lived a merchant named Chima whose wealth was matched only by his arrogance. He wore the finest cloth, ate the choicest meat, and never let anyone forget that he had traveled to 7 kingdoms and back. His compound stood at the center of the village, with walls so high that even the morning sun had to climb to peek inside. I have seen everything worth seeing, Chima would boast at the marketplace. I have slept in the palaces of kings and dined with warriors. There is nothing in this world that can surprise me anymore. The elders would shake their heads at such talk, for they knew that pride was a termite that ate at the foundation of a man's house. But Chima paid them no mind. One evening, as Chima returned from a trading journey to a neighboring village, dark clouds gathered overhead like angry ancestors. The rain came suddenly, fierce and blinding, turning the road into a river of mud. Thunder cracked the sky like a calabash breaking on stone. Through the curtain of rain, Chima saw a figure huddled beneath a palm tree. As he drew closer, he realized it was a woman, but not just any woman. Her wrapper was torn and muddy, her hair matted into wild locks that stood in every direction like the branches of a dead tree. She rocked back and forth, speaking to people who weren't there, laughing at jokes no one had told. The mad woman of the forest, Chima muttered. Everyone knew of her. She wandered the paths between villages, talking to spirits, sleeping under trees. Some said she had been a priestess who had seen too much. Others claimed she had lost her mind when her entire family perished in a fire. No one knew her real name, they simply called her Adama, father's daughter, as if she belonged to everyone and no one. Chima's first instinct was to pass by. What business did a man of his standing have with a mad woman? But the rain fell harder, and something, perhaps the memory of his own mother's voice teaching him about mercy, made him stop. Woman, he called out. You would die in this rain. Come, let me take you somewhere dry. Adama looked at him with eyes that seemed to see through the rain, through the night, through time itself. She smiled, showing teeth that were surprisingly white and whole. The river does not drown the fish, she said cryptically. But the kind man opens his door to the storm. Chima's compound was still 2 hours away in this weather. The rain showed no sign of stopping, and night was falling fast. He remembered a small abandoned hut that traders sometimes used, just off the main path. It had a roof and walls, it would have to do. When they reached the hut, Chima was relieved to find it relatively dry inside. He helped Adama in and started a small fire with the wood left by previous travelers. The woman sat in the corner, still muttering to herself, sometimes laughing, sometimes weeping softly. Chima shared his provisions with her, dried fish, palm wine, and some yam. To his surprise, she ate delicately, almost regally, as if she were at a feast rather than in a broken-down hut. You are kind, she said suddenly, her voice clearer than before. Kindness is rare. Rarer than gold. Rarer than wisdom. It's nothing, Chima replied, uncomfortable with the gratitude. Any decent person would do the same. Would they? Adama asked, tilting her head like a bird. Then why am I always alone? The question hung in the air, and Chima had no answer. As the night deepened and the rain continued its relentless drumming on the roof, exhaustion overcame him. The hut was small, with barely enough room for 2 people to lie down. Chima spread his travel mat on one side and motioned for Adama to take the other corner. But the mad woman shook her head. The night is cold, she said. And loneliness is colder still. Sleep here, merchant. Just sleep. I will not harm you. Something in her voice, a strange authority mixed with sadness, made Chima agree. He lay down on his mat, and Adama lay beside him, not touching, just sharing warmth in the small space. It was perhaps the strangest thing Chima had ever done. He, who had boasted of sleeping in palaces, now lay beside a mad woman in an abandoned hut. As sleep took him, he thought he heard her whisper, compassion is the door through which miracles enter. Chima woke to sunlight streaming through the cracks in the hut. The rain had stopped, and the world outside sparkled with freshness. He turned to look at his companion and froze. The mad woman was gone. In her place sat the most beautiful woman he had ever seen. Her skin glowed like copper in the morning light, her eyes were clear and intelligent, and her hair, now clean and plaited, fell around her shoulders like silk threads. She wore the same torn wrapper, but somehow it now looked like royal cloth. Who are you? Chima stammered, scrambling to his feet. The woman smiled. I am Adanma. I am the same person who slept here beside you. The same one you fed and sheltered when anyone else would have passed by. But you seemed mad, she finished. Yes, I was. And perhaps I still am, in ways you cannot see. But you, Chima the merchant, showed me kindness when I had nothing to offer but madness. You did not seek to use me or harm me. You simply offered shelter. She stood, and Chima noticed that she seemed taller, more commanding. I am not just a mad woman, she continued. I am a guardian, a tester of hearts. The Spirit sent me to walk among people, to see who still carries kindness in their soul. Many men have seen me helpless and alone. Some ignored me. Others. Her voice darkened, others saw opportunity for cruelty. But you, proud as you are, chose mercy. Chima's mind reeled. Then this was all a test. Life is always a test, Adama replied. And you, merchant, have passed. Because of your kindness, I give you 3 gifts. Adama reached into a pouch that Chima had not noticed before and drew out 3 objects. The first was a small seed, brown and unremarkable. Plant this in your compound, she said. It will grow into a tree that bears fruit year-round. The fruit will heal any sickness, but you must promise to share it freely with anyone who asks. Wealth hoarded is wealth wasted. The second was a white stone, smooth and cool to the touch. Keep this with you always. When you face a difficult decision, hold it, and it will help you see with clarity. But beware, it will also show you your own faults. Truth is a double-edged blade. The third was a simple clay bell, no larger than his thumb. Ring this when you are in true danger, and help will come. But you may ring it only once in your lifetime, so choose wisely. Chima accepted the gift with trembling hands. How can I thank you? By remembering this night, Adama said. Remember that every person you meet carries a story you cannot see. The beggar might be a teacher, the fool might be wise, and the mad woman might be a doorway to transformation. Treat everyone as if they might change your life, because they might. With that, she walked to the door of the hut. As she stepped into the sunlight, her form shimmered like heat rising from the earth, and then she was gone, leaving only the scent of wildflowers in her wake. Chima returned to his village a different man. He planted the seed in the center of his compound, and within days, it grew into a magnificent tree with leaves of silver and fruit of gold. Just as Adama had promised, the fruit could heal any ailment. Chima kept his promise and gave it freely to anyone who asked, the sick child, the elderly farmer, the woman in labor. His compound became a place of healing rather than pride. The white stone he kept in his pocket. In the marketplace, when merchants tried to cheat him, he would touch it and suddenly see their desperation, their hungry children, the debts that drove them to dishonesty. His anger would soften into understanding, and he would find fair solutions instead of harsh justice. As for the clay bell, he kept it wrapped in cloth, waiting for the moment of true danger that might never come. But the greatest change was in Chima himself. The arrogant merchant became known for his compassion. He no longer boasted of his travels but listened to the stories of others. He no longer built walls to keep people out but opened his doors to travelers and strangers. The elders noticed the change and nodded approvingly. Pride can be cured, they said, when the medicine is strange enough. Years passed. Chima grew older, his hair turned grey, and his wealth, paradoxically, increased because people trusted him and brought him their business. His reputation for fairness and kindness spread to all 7 kingdoms he had once boasted about. Then, one evening, as he sat beneath the silver leaf tree, a familiar figure approached his compound. It was Adanma, looking exactly as she had that morning in the hut, beautiful and radiant. Merchant, she greeted him with a smile. I have come to see how you have used my gifts. Chima stood and bowed deeply. You have transformed my life. The seed has brought healing to hundreds. The stone has brought wisdom to my decisions. The bell remains unused, for I have faced no danger I could not overcome with patience and kindness. Adanma walked around the tree, touching its silver leaves. You have done well. But there is one more lesson. She reached out and touched the tree, and immediately it began to shrink, returning to a small seed in her palm. She touched Chima's pocket, and the white stone crumbled to dust. The clay bell in his house shattered with a sound like distant thunder. Chima felt a moment of panic. Why? Why take back the gifts when I have used them well? Because, Adama said gently, you must learn that the magic was never in the objects. The tree healed people because you chose to share. The stone brought wisdom because you chose to pause and think. The bell protected you because you chose to solve problems with kindness rather than force. The power was always yours, Chima. The gifts were just permission to use what was already in your heart. She placed her hand on his chest. The real gift I gave you was the belief that you could be more than your pride. That belief changed everything. Now I will tell you the full truth, Adama continued. I was never mad. I am a spirit of the crossroads, a guardian of choices. I appear to people at the moment when they can choose to be better or worse than they have been. Most fail the test. They see a helpless woman and see only inconvenience or opportunity for cruelty. But you, despite your pride, saw a human being in need. That night when you slept beside me, you could have done many things. You could have left me in the rain. You could have taken me to the hut and abandoned me. You could have tried to take advantage of my seeming madness. But you did none of these things. You simply shared your space, your food, and your warmth. You treated me with dignity. That simple act of sleeping beside a mad woman, with no expectation of reward, with only the human decency of not leaving someone to suffer alone, that changed your fate. That opened the door. Chima felt tears on his cheeks. Then all of this, everything I have become, was always possible, Adama finished. I just showed you the way. Now you must continue without magic, without seeds or stones or bells. Just you, and the compassion you have learned to carry. She began to fade into the evening light. Remember, Chima, every person you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. Every encounter is a chance to be the miracle someone needs. You slept beside a mad woman with kindness in your heart, and it changed your life. Let it change others' lives too. And then she was gone, leaving Chima alone beneath a tree that was no longer magical but still beautiful, in a compound that was no longer protected by enchantment but still full of people seeking help and healing. The story of Chima spread across the 7 kingdoms and beyond. When people would ask him about the night he slept with a mad woman, he would smile and say, I learned that compassion is the only real magic in this world. Everything else is just smoke and mirrors. And on quiet evenings, when strangers came to his door seeking shelter, Chima would welcome them in, give them food and warmth, and treat them with the same dignity he had shown Adama. Because he had learned that the greatest treasures are not found in palaces or markets, but in the simple, profound act of recognizing the humanity in every person we meet. Some say that on certain nights, when the moon is full and the air is thick with mystery, you can still see Adama walking the roads between villages, testing hearts, searching for those rare souls who would choose kindness over convenience, compassion over cruelty. And if you ever meet a mad woman on a rainy night, remember Chima's story. Remember that the greatest transformations come not from wisdom, but from the foolishness of an open heart. Remember that sometimes, sleeping beside a stranger with nothing but kindness is the most powerful magic of all. For in the end, we are all both mad and sane, both lost and found, both teachers and students on this journey. And the only thing that truly matters is how we treat each other along the way.